Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and here we go. Now we got it. Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally doesn't work. We're already open for business. And hang on one second here because we are ghetto today. Unfortunately or fortunately, I have a day job to go to, and I did not have enough time to really get set up and going as well as I'd like to. There's so much stuff to do here to get the set up. I got home about 7:45, tried to get everything set up here for the streaming things, and wasn't quite exactly ready. Hopefully the sound is okay. Let me know. Skinny Mark, yeah, right. Actually, it's the clothes, man. I'm telling you what it is. I tell you what, take a look at this. Take a good look here. For all you trolls out there that want to mess with me, I want you to understand I am a grown ass man. Let me say it again. I am a grown ass man. And the nice thing about being a grown ass man and wearing the shirt is it's very slimming. I have lost some weight and stuff, but see, it's a better cut. It's not one of those baby tees, as my wife would say. Honey, don't wear the baby tees because it just don't look good on you. What's up from Vegas? Mickey Mike, thank you very much for the super chat. Let me know if the sound is okay because I don't have. I'm not actually here, but actually, hold on. Is it It's not official yet about Kellen Moore. Let me put on the headphones here and make sure that we're okay. All right, I hate wearing these things because they're too damn hot. But here's the thing, Kellen Moore, and also I hear myself in here. I don't like to actually hear myself. Kellen Moore. Let's go to the videotape here for a second. Um, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so that was a clip that I had from Dak Prescott. Oh, L4G Custom Fabrication. Thank you very much. Happy Monday. Thank you. Um, Kellen Moore. All right. I am going to go ahead and take a side of the argument. I don't need the headphones on because I'm not talking to anybody. I'm going to take a side of the argument why it may actually work with Kellen Moore being offensive coordinator. Because I know we're sitting here thinking about that image right there, that image that we just saw, him and Dak. The thing that bothers me is when I look at the sidelines at what other coaches that have been successful quarterbacks. When you look at Sean McVay is the head coach, and he is immediately there in Jared Goff's ear. He took a guy who was a bum. Let's face it, he was a bum. And as good as you guys think he is, Dak Prescott has better numbers than him. Okay? But that guy is in the guy's ear. He's there in real time, not up in the booth. He's down there on the field. Mickey Mike, thank you very much for the super chat. Romo's not going to be the coordinator because they're basically going to back up the Brinks truck for him at CBS. They're going to do whatever it takes to make sure they lock his ass up. It's a nice thought, but Romo's not coming back. But here's the thing. Let me go on and get my point across here about Kellen Moore. When you looked at that clip of him and Dak, more times than not, You saw Dak Prescott basically tuned out, and you figure that Dak Prescott has been coaching himself. You know, when you hear Dak Prescott early in the season, he says, I have to go ahead and play better. I have to learn better. It was always I. It was not, you know, where the coaching was included. That makes you think that maybe he wasn't learning much there. Oh, man. Superjet L4G custom fabrication. Match this one. Okay. All right, man. There you go. I appreciate that, man. All that money is helping out to support the channel. I appreciate it. It's not necessary, but we're doing some exciting things and all that. And in the future, we're going to have some really, really great things. We're actually going to be partnering up with Cowboys Experience, and we're going to be doing some really cool things this year. So I appreciate that. We're working on with the new software and stuff. Hopefully the picture's good. Hopefully the sound is better, and I'll be able to actually load up clips and things as I learn how to do this. Oh my God. Looks like we got a bidding war going on here with Mickey Mike and LG Fabrication. Appreciate the super chats. Okay, so here's the thing. Understand, I do construction work, okay? I build it. That's different than designing a need, okay? You have an architect who comes up with the plan. This is his vision. This is what he wants to accomplish. When I worked at the Smithsonian, and if you go to the American Indian Museum, okay, I have artwork there in the Indian American Museum. You can't go right now because, of course, the government shut down. But if you ever get the opportunity, go up onto the fourth floor to the Oneida Nation statue. It's incredible because there's all these projectors and stuff that are in there, and it's just like, you know, virtual reality kind of thing. Not exactly, but okay. There's a whole story painted on the inside of the wall. It's like a giant teepee. But the outside of it, I had to build this bulkhead that houses all these cameras and stuff in there. This architect had this vision that they've been working on for 7 years and said, here's what I want. And he tried to design it. And 3 different companies came through and said, I can't help you. They finally came to me and said, Mark, we need a solution for this. We need you with layman eyes to figure out how to make it work. I don't know how it's going to work, but you need to figure out how to do it. I just have the vision. And so I had to be the guy there on the ground that took the idea from the architect to actually make it a reality. And if you look at somebody like Norv Turner has like a 114, holy moly, L4G custom fabrication. Damn! Damn! Twice. Thank you incredibly for the super chats. Wow. Wow. We might be getting that steaming set a lot sooner. Okay, but if you take Norv Turner, you cannot disagree what he has done as an offensive coordinator. Get me? When you think about what he was doing with the offense with Cam Newton was going and actually playing real well until he got hurt. When you looked at what he did in San Diego for that offense, you looked at it and said, man, that did pretty good. You looked at what he did with the Dallas Cowboys and getting 3 Super Bowls. It was incredible. But here's the thing. He's not the architect. He sucked at actually being the guy. You understand what I'm saying here? Norv Turner was not a good head coach. He was a great offensive coordinator. Okay, so maybe, I apologize, my stream has froze up on my computer over here. Let me actually pull it up over here on this other computer. So maybe what it is Kellen Moore is not a guy who can coach Dak Prescott the X's and O's. I mean, excuse me, the placement and stuff, you know, foot position and recognition and stuff like that. Maybe he's not good with that. But maybe what he'll be good at is actually looking at the field and understanding down and distance, understanding what play will work best in each situation. Because that's totally different than actually teaching somebody how to set up and throw the football. Does that make any sense at all? And I'm sorry, I may have missed some super chats in there, I apologize. But for some reason, my stream seems to be fine up in here, going out, but my feed coming in so I can actually see what's going on has frozen up on here, so I don't see that. So what I'm saying is maybe he is just not the guy to go ahead and, okay, so I can see it over here at least. So we can actually, see, here's what's kind of cool here, guys. Bam! Okay, we're over here on this camera. So I can at least look over here and see what's going on because my main camera over here is doing it. And if I missed any other super chats, I apologize because my system froze up on me. Okay, oh, and now it's back. Making it rain up in here. Actually, let me see if I can look down. Make sure I didn't forget anybody. We got Mickey Mike. Appreciate that super chat. LA Custom Fabrications and L4G Custom Fabrications. Mickey Mike and wow. Okay. I think we got the. I hope I got all of them. I'll definitely enter you guys all into our drawing we'll do on Friday. Oh, Friday. Oh my God. This will be our last live stream in here. The next one will be actually from Atlanta on Friday night because we'll be driving down there Friday night. We'll actually be in the Super Bowl city. Sadly, we don't have anybody we want to root for because I hate the Rams because they're arrogant sons of bitches, and I hate New England because they're arrogant sons of bitches. But it's still Super Bowl, so we will be showing you guys the sights and sounds, and I got to tell you, even if your team is not. Oh yeah, definitely, Bobby. Great idea. LA Fabrication. Email me at cowboysmark94@gmail, so that way I can find out which one of your shirts, one of these shirts, if you want a Dak shirt or if you want a grown ass man. I tell you what, the way you throwing money around, you definitely a grown ass man. But definitely a great idea. I appreciate that, as well as Money Mike. Go ahead and email me too, man. I appreciate that, man. With the support for the channel, it's incredible. So much love and support. I just can't thank you guys enough. But back to Kellen Moore. And here's what I'm trying to be positive because you guys know I am a glass half full and happy. Oh, Mickey Mike, make sure you email me. Thank you very much for the super chat. I'm trying to be positive about the idea of having Kellen Moore. Here's the thing. I think the players, Trucker Strugs, thank you very much for the super chat. I think the players are happy just for the fact that Scott Linehan's gone. I don't think there's anybody in the building that is like, oh, damn, we lost him. No. I think they are actually partying right now, okay? They are happy as can be. Now, again, I believe that possibly, now he's not stupid. In fact, I'm not sure it will take much to be better than Scott Linehan was. Here's the thing. Do you think that he will continue to run the ball on fourth down the exact same play every time? Because it doesn't take a whole lot to go ahead and say, you know what, maybe let's throw something else in there. You think that that could possibly be the case? Because that doesn't take a whole lot of brain power. I could do that. Mike, could you do that, Mike? Mike? Because in talking about Kellen Moore, I mean, how many times have we seen Zeke Elliott running in the middle for fourth down? I mean, no, I'm just saying, listen.
Kellen Moore is a bum.
You know what? Most guys that are great coaches can't play jack in football.
Kellen Moore is a bum.
Okay, forget.
I would never support Kellen Moore.
Okay. Most good coaches weren't guys that could actually play. And generally speaking, guys that were great players don't usually make great coaches. Aaron Ball, thank you very much for the super chat. Mickey Mike. How about my email? My email, Cowboys with an S, Mark 94, like, of course, me or Charles Haley, at gmail.com.
We're having one with Jason Garrett.
Okay, okay. I was trying to get you to help my point, okay?
I cannot support Kellen Moore.
Okay, understand, listen.
I will never support Kellen Moore.
There have been Hall of Fame players that have become coaches that couldn't coach jack. And that's where everybody thinks, oh, well, Tony Romo was a great player. He may not be able to be a leader of men. He may not be a tactician. He may be somebody who's only used to being told what to do. Okay, never mind. All right. Okay, we're going to drop Mike.
I would never support Kellen Moore. So you get that.
He's a bomb, Mark. Okay. All right. My point being is you don't know what you don't know. And it is conceivable. it is conceivable that maybe he can understand the X's and O's and understand that if every time they're squatting on the stop route, that maybe we should try the go route. Maybe we should try a couple of other different plays maybe, because that's the problem with our offense is we didn't mix anything up. That's the biggest problem. How about on fourth down, instead of always running Zeke Elliott up the middle, why don't we, when it's like less than a yard, with Dak Prescott being 6'2" and about 240, why don't we try a quarterback sneak? If Tom Brady can do a quarterback sneak and get first down, why the hell with the offensive line that we have and Dak Prescott can't we? Why is it we always have to do the dive where Dak is going to go back 5 yards, meet Zeke, and give the defense enough time to get in there? How about you just throw in a couple more routes? Just a little. I mean, I could honestly believe, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe I'm just a Monday morning quarterback. But I believe that in some instances, I could call a few more things that would be a little bit better in situations. I know this much about my quarterback. Dak Prescott is much better outside the pocket. True? Naked bootlegs. I know if there's 8 men in the frickin' box, 8 men in the box, that you fake the dive and you roll the quarterback out. Because what's going to happen is you only have the 3 cornerbacks and a safety. You have a couple of receivers. You go ahead and bring the tight end across. And either the end is going to come in charging, in which case you dump it to the tight end, or he's going to cover the tight end and you run for the first down. And that's, hold on. Hey, Tony, I'm actually on live right now, live streaming.
Okay, I'll call you later.
Okay, thank you.
Call me when you get you.
It'll be in an hour. All right. That's my brother who's in Alaska freezing his ass off, okay, Colin. And he's called like 3 times, so I'm just like, okay, dude, let's stop. So understand that I don't know that it's going to take a lot to bring a little bit more for it. Aikman, okay, guys, I am black. Understand, I don't think Tony Romo wants to come in to be an offensive coordinator. Now, I see Miss Jackie. Now, Miss Jackie, you know, I would trust something that Miss Jackie says. Mickey Mike, thank you very much for the super chat. Got to do this master's homework. It's been real, LG4 and Mark. I appreciate it, man. Master's homework. Oh, man, you go ahead, man. Get that degree. Or excuse me, that master's degree. Mark has a brother. Yes, I actually have 3 brothers and a sister. But stop getting me off subject here, guys. Stop getting me off subject. Miss Jackie is saying he'd like to be GM. I hadn't heard that one. I know CBS is basically saying we want to go ahead and give you an offer to step it up to make sure that you don't leave. Now, GM, that might be a little bit different than being offensive coordinator or head coach. But I don't think that Tony Romo will leave because basically he's getting about $1 million a week. Can play golf whenever he wants to. Got an off season. And everybody loves him. You see what I'm saying? So all you people that are dreaming that Tony Romo is going to come back, he's going to save us, he's going to finally get us to the promise. Come on. Oh, you're talking about Troy, Jackie. I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to get I really need to go to the eye doctor and go ahead and get the glasses. I'm sorry. Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman, who... Carol, I am not telling Michael to call you. It's done. It's dead. He's just like not interested, okay?
Just block the bitch.
All right? He's not interested, okay?
I have right to call her that too.
Okay, Troy. I had not seen that, but I've been working my ass off. I'm not sure. I'm beginning to think Troy Aikman might be a little bipolar.
What about the guy for?
I mean, honestly, because remember Troy Aikman one week was saying we need to blow the whole thing. Are you sure you want Aikman to be the guy? Because remember, week 8 he was talking about blowing it up. Before that, he was talking about Dak Prescott. Either you have it or you don't. If he was GM, we might have just like got rid of the whole team and just started all over. Are you sure about that one? because I keep saying, Victor, my whole Victor, you are truly a dog. And man, weren't you over on somebody else's page talking about how much you loved her? You're up here two-timing on two different channels, Victor. Come on, man. Why you roll like that? And then you accuse me of being a cheat. Damn, dog. He say block the. Yes, he did say that. Okay, so now, that's the reason why I say you at least need to give him an opportunity. It can't be worse than Linehan. I mean, honestly. No, I don't think it. But, and here's.
What has Dak Prescott learned from the man?
Okay, but see, that's the difference. See, here's the difference. You didn't listen to my analogy. Okay, so here's the difference. John Kitna was a serviceable quarterback. He didn't have a lot of talent to start with, but he has been around and seen a lot, because a lot of people will say Tony Romo was the reason why Dak Prescott really achieved. But Tony Romo really wasn't there as much as butt fumble was Mark Sanchez.
That's the guy you would bring in.
That's what I'm saying, because Mark Sanchez had actually been to 2 AFC championship games. It wasn't because of his arm, it was the defense. But here's the thing. I think Mark Sanchez in his ear did a lot more than Wade Wilson and Scott Linehan. Because like I was saying, just because you're a great quarterback or a great player does not mean you are a great coach. In fact, it's usually the guys who don't have all the talent, the guys that have to work harder by being the guy that knows the ins and outs, by understanding I've got to make this play exactly. I can't just rely on having a cannon for an arm. Is there a chance for Dez coming back? I don't think so. I think Dez, unfortunately, I mean, it's Achilles. He may not be ready to even start the season. And you're talking about the Cowboys moved on. And the problem for him now is Stello 300 Cowboys. What's up? Check out Stello's 300 Cowboys. He's got himself a YouTube channel. Appreciate all the support you've been giving me to the channel. So I feel a little hyper, but it might be because I got this big ass cup of coffee, so forgive me. And it could be all the damn super chats. You guys have literally blown away. But back to what I was saying. Mark Sanchez has been on enough teams, has played enough football that he understands the mechanics of situations. And I'm not sure that Scott Linehan ever had that. And it may be that getting John Kitna, who has been a journeyman quarterback, who did not have the greatest of talent, but succeeded because he was a tactician, can be the one to instill Dak Prescott better mechanics. I will say that I believe that John Kitna will be better position coach than Kellen Moore was, just for the simple fact of him having more NFL experience. But that doesn't mean that Kellen Moore does not have the brain capacity to be able to call a play. Joe DeMella, I'm sorry, it went past too quick and I missed it. Thank you very much for the super chat. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have the capability to call the plays. And that's where I was saying that you have an architect who can design something that's absolutely gorgeous, but then have no idea how to actually build it. And that's the difference there. So maybe you've got John Kitna in a place that'll work with Dak, be the butt fumble for him, the Mark Sanchez. You know, Matt W., I unblocked you, Matt. I unblocked you. Don't act up. Don't act up, okay? I'm trying to be cool because my moderators are in here just kind of like, boom, 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 letting people go. And I get people that come to me and beg me, hey, please, can I come back? Please come back. But don't act up, because I'll turn around and block you and delete you. So that's where I say, let's look at it for a second. The other part of the equation is this. I believe what you're actually going to see is that Jason Garrett is now officially on the hot seat. Here's my crazy conspiracy thoughts. My crazy idea is this. Chris Richard had a lot of interest, right? A lot of people wanted to have Chris Richard as their coach, didn't they? A lot of people wanted to talk to him. You notice how that went like this? You can't tell me that Adam Gase, is it Adam Gase, or Miami's Dolphins coach, is that great of a coach that you'd rather have him coming from Miami to go to the Jets when you saw what Chris Richard did. It kind of reminds me of when the Texans wanted Will McClay. Remember how they kept wanting to talk to him about being their GM, but there was never a meeting set up? And he was never made GM for us, right? And he ain't gone anywhere. There has to be some kind of a deal back in there where Jerry Jones is either just backing up the Brinks truck and say, hey, Will, you're the GM, I just need the title. Because that guy's done a hell of a job on getting talent on his field. You don't have teams that have homegrown talent like we do. We don't go out and have to buy a team like the Redskins try and do every year and fail. But somehow, that guy who could have been the Texans GM or some of these other teams is still here. And you got Chris Richard, who has aspirations of being a head coach. I may be crazy, but I think Jerry Jones might have kind of said, you know, Chris, you're going to be the next guy in line. And we might hear something like assistant head coach. It won't surprise me. And instead of Jason Garrett getting like a 5-year extension, that they go ahead and say, we're going to give you a 1-year extension because we don't want you to go into the final year of your contract. And we're going to make you the play caller. You're the one in charge, that this is either sink or swim. And if you do not succeed, that Chris Richard becomes the Dallas Cowboys head coach. Am I crazy? Well, here's the thing. Again, but see, the reason why you this is kind of like what they did with Scott Linehan. They said, Scott Linehan, basically, this is going to be your last opportunity. You bring in the guys that you feel you need to work with, because that's exactly what they did. They took him, he brought in Paul Alexander because we want to change it to a zone blocking. You know, you got Sanjay Lal. Let me get Kellen Moore. He's my quarterback coach. So they gave him everything that works for him that he likes. And he failed, and you're out of here. So now you see Jason Garrett is surrounded by Jason Garrett guys. Jason Garrett now has Kellen Moore, who knows the system, because let's face it, Jason Garrett's system was Scott Linehan. Scott Linehan just dumbed it down and just took it to the nth degree. So now you hear that Jason Garrett may be calling plays. We're talking about not having anybody else coming in, not a different philosophy. So it's basically Jason Garrett's job to prove that his philosophy works. Jason, if this is your game plan, who better to call the plays than you? You get your guys that you want, that you feel comfortable with, and just in case, we got a guy right here who wants to be a head coach. Is that crazy? Because here's the thing, that when you make mistakes, you learn from them. And the Cowboys made a huge mistake this offseason that burned them. And they were lucky enough that by midseason they could correct that. And do you know what decision that was that screwed them? Anybody? Anybody? I'll wait. Benjamin Forbes, thank you very much for the super chat. The mistake was letting Dez Bryant go without a plan on how to replace him. Is a smidge low? Let me turn it up just a little. Let's pump up the volume, dance. Okay, hopefully that's enough. Hey, dog, shut up. Somebody need to let the dogs out. Garrett's philosophy is basically a ball control. Brian SoCal, thank you very much for the super chat. Is a ball control offense that's predicated on actually going down the field with your checkouts coming down, okay? It's not really a high-risk type of an offense. Tony Romo took it to another level because Tony Romo basically changed a lot of plays and bought a lot of time by running around. And that came with time. But the problem with what Tony Romo was doing was sometimes you get the Tony Onos, in which case we turn the ball over and we'd end up losing games. Or we didn't have the running game to go with it, in which case it ended up being we either lived and died by Tony Romo's arm. That's how that system worked. But it can work by controlling the clock, keeping your defense fresh, and the whole scheme is about keeping the other team off the field. Okay? Our defense is made to be a pass rushing defense. You look at our defensive linemen, we don't have a lot of really big guys that can take a pounding. Okay? What you have is length. You have guys that are 6'4", 6'6", 6'8", if David Irvin could ever stay on the field. Samuel Hernandez, thank you very much for the super chat. And they play best if they are having to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback because of their speed. The problem is the Rams pounded the crap out of us. And we don't have the big people to constantly get pounded on like that. Okay? So what that means is your offense needs to control the ball, control the clock, and make the other team one-dimensional where they have to pass against you. Whether you like it or not, that's what it's meant to do. It's not meant to be a quick strike offense. They can do it. You've seen Dak go down the field in a minute and score, but it's really made to grind it out. That's his philosophy. Okay? So now, your philosophy, your coaching style, the way this team has been built now, it's basically built for that. And if Jason Garrett, with this young talent, can't do it, like I said, if you're Chris Richard, would you rather go to Tampa Bay or say, you know what, if Jason Garrett stumbles, I'm going to be head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Which would you do? You know what? I like it here in Dallas. I'm getting a boatload of money. I'm primetime everywhere. I'm finally getting recognized as a great coach, not something I was in Seattle, even though, I helped them win a Super Bowl. I created a defense that was scoring champion 3 years in a row, and yet I got shown the door and became the scapegoat. They want me here in Dallas. And I have the opportunity to be able to take over if Jason Garrett stumbles. To me, that's what I think. Mike McCarthy, stop timing me out. I didn't time you out. I'm not blocking anybody in here. That's the moderators. I bet, we know you're thirsty, Victor. Oscar Marquez, thank you very much for the super chat. Cowboys need to hire Mark as an assistant. Yeah, that's okay. I'd like to quit my day job, but I don't know that I want the pressure of having to be in that pressure cooker, but I appreciate it. But you understand at least my thinking. I'll do another one why it's just dumb as hell, because some people say I should be a politician because I can kind of waffle a bit, but I'm trying to see what the Cowboys see. But I believe everything changed 1 week ago today in the morning, when Jason Garrett said, we're not making changes. We don't see a need, we're proud of the way our team competed here. We did a good job. Our guys competed and things like that. We were so close. And that's where, and I said this, Stephen Jones was like, what? You didn't just say you're happy that we lost in the playoffs and didn't make the Super Bowl. You're content with that? And that's where I think that Stephen Jones is putting him on blast. And so, again, when they let go of Des Bryant, the problem is they didn't have a replacement ready to go. You let him go and you figured, okay, we'll get somebody. We'll get a guy in there. And they looked like freaking idiots because we didn't have anybody who could get separation. We didn't have a guy who was a playmaker anymore. And they realized we got to do something about that. So I believe that right now, instead of just saying, let's fire Jason Garrett, and you look around at what's their coaches. Now, there's probably a Sean McVay someplace, but nobody knows who that is just yet until you try it. But you look around and you say, if I fire Jason Garrett today, who am I going to bring in? Do you want, I mean, somebody said Mike McCarthy for offensive coordinator. It's just retreads. So Nick Saban's not going to leave college to come here for this. And Nick Saban, are you sure you want Nick Saban? Nick Saban, who basically walked away during the season for the Dolphins? I'm not sure that Nick Saban will be the answer. So you make Jason Garrett coach for his job, and he becomes the fall guy. And if you're the Joneses, well, look, we gave Jason Garrett all the time in the world. We gave him the players. You look at the homegrown talent we got out here. He got the latitude. He was the one calling the plays. He got his people there working for him. You can't blame us. That's Jason Garrett's mistake. And so that's where I look at it and say, yeah, this is the game plan. We'll see what happens. For all we know, Jason Garrett wasn't the worst play caller in the world because the offense played well for the most part under him. The bigger problem with the Cowboys is he just kept going to the well too often with the pass. And he didn't have he did not have a Zeke Elliott. He only had DeMarco Murray for 1 year that was really, really good. So maybe now that he has a running back, a great running back, maybe now that he's got a quarterback who doesn't turn over the ball and he's got a defense, maybe it'll be better. That's all I can tell you. But it could be worse, guys. I almost wanted to laugh today because I was like, you know what? I am so happy to be a Dallas Cowboy fan right now. As me and Michael are driving down the road, I live, a lot of you guys don't know, I actually live in Northern Virginia. I go to Dallas as often as I can. My heart is in Dallas. I've got a couple of paving stones that are around the stadium that I guess me and Jerry both own. I got my copy here and the other one's there at the stadium, so I would like to feel that I own a little piece of Dallas. But as we're riding down the road, we're hearing this report about Dan Snyder wanting Todd Bowles to be his defensive coordinator. Hadn't fired his current one, Greg Minuski. But went to Todd Bowles and said, listen, just give me a number. How much do you want to get paid to come here in Washington to be my defensive coordinator and coach in waiting? You just lost your job with the Jets. And a man comes to you and says, how much do you want? You know what his response was? I'm good, bro. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't want it.
I think he was going to Tampa Bay. I think he was going to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he would. I think he decided to go with his buddy in Tampa Bay. So think about that. The Washington Redskins, one of the most valuable franchises in the NFL, the man comes to you and says, I'll pay you whatever you want, and you can decide which coaches stay and go, including the GM. And he'd rather go to Tampa Bay. Wow. Wow. That goes to show you how bad it is in Washington. I kind of said, Dan Snyder, call me up. Pay me as much as you want. I'll come there and screw the team up and leave. I'll pull a Jason Taylor on you. Take the money and run. At least we were in the playoffs, won a playoff game. And as much as you guys don't like Dak Prescott, the Redskins would take Dak Prescott in a heartbeat. I would take Earl Thomas out of those three, out of Landon Collins. Landon Collins, I think, is attitude-wise, I'm not sure that he's a good fit. Clinton Dix, I think he's done. He's stunk it up in Washington. No, I would take Earl Thomas because to me, we have a bigger need at safety to be a rotational guy, a guy that can be lights out, a guy with experience that can also help mentor these younger guys with the system. I think he'd be a better fit. Oh, Jason Garrett, I meant to call that number you gave me last night, and I forgot today. Yeah, I forgot because I didn't want to get laughed out of town when I called the Dallas Cowboys and told them that Jason Garrett told me to call about a job. Mark Holmes and Joe Boo Sports Report. Cool one. Okay. Well, Cowboy Eli, how can you be an Eli and be a Cowboy? Mike, can you be that? He's got his headphones on. Our offensive line should actually be better. And here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't know how Tyron Smith's going to do. Tyron Smith was replaced in the Pro Bowl. He probably didn't want to go to Orlando anyway. He's in better shape than he was last year at this time going into the offseason. But Travis Frederick is going to be practicing in OTAs. If Travis Frederick can come anywhere near where he was, all of a sudden now you've got a Joe Looney who can play center. He can also play guard, who now has a year of experience. That's incredible depth right there. And he's not getting paid a whole lot of money. So right there, you look at that and say, damn, we've got actually a swing guard center. Okay. Add to that, Connor Williams having an off season now, and you fatten him up. You work on his technique. He'll have a whole off season of OTAs and everything else to work with the team, again, and get stronger. Because he played better after he got hurt. He still has a lot to learn, but he was playing better at the end of the season than he was in the beginning. Okay? And honestly, I would consider fattening him up and moving him out to tackle. And what I would do then is take La'el Collins and move him back to guard because I believe he's a better guard. Jackie, did I miss one? I'm sorry, Jackie. Who did I miss? Let's see. Oscar, thank you very much for the super chat. Samuel Hernandez, thank you very much for the super chat. Hopefully those are the ones I missed. So you put him at guard, where I think he's a better guard because I think he's faster and I think he's better actually in space. You put Connor Williams at tackle, and then you got Cam Fleming, who got some extra playing time filling in for Tyron Smith. So now what you've got is you've got 5 starters, and Zach Martin gets his knee worked on, and he comes back 100%. Now you've got 5 good starters, and you have his backups, a Cam Fleming if Tyron Smith goes down. You have a Joe Looney who can play guard or center, and you have an Xavier Salafalo who also got some experience. So now you got 3 backups that have experience playing in your system. I actually think that next year our offensive line is going to be a beast again, and that we won't suffer from having an injury or two like we did in 2017. So I look at that being actually a better situation than we've had the last 2 years. I also look at the wide receiver and core and having Amari Cooper being here in the offseason working with Dak, that is going to continue to grow. I also look at saying Michael Gallup becoming a deep threat now that he's got a year behind him. It's hard for a rookie to come in and be good at wide receiver. If you look at the draft picks out there this year, those guys really didn't do that much other than, with Atlanta, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley benefited because you got Julio Jones on one side and Sanu on the other. Somebody's got to cover those guys. You've got to be the one that they worry about least. But even so, his numbers still weren't that great. So, Kaepernick, why would we get, wow, Kaepernick, really? Colombo for offensive coordinator. I'm okay with keeping him offensive line. bring back Dez Bryant. Irving won't be back. Draft a defensive tackle or free agent. Well, here's the thing. I think the Cowboys need more than anything else. I look at the receiving core, and I think Cole Beasley wants to come back now that Scott Linehan's gone. I believe I saw something about that. I got to go back and do some more research, but like I said, I was out in the middle of nowhere, man's land today, and didn't have enough time because I was busy working. But I believe Cole Beasley wants to come back. And I look at Michael Gallup. I think Hearns will be able to get back and so on. He'll be okay. I look at Amari Cooper and things. I think we're okay at wide receiver. But the position that has evolved over the last 10 years and has become more important than anything else is actually tight end. And to me, we didn't have enough consistency at tight end where it became like a Jason Witten, a security blanket. The thing that Tony Romo had all of his career was a Jason Witten. Jason Witten was not the fastest guy, okay? He wasn't going to beat you downfield, but the thing that Jason Witten could do is he could run precise routes, and he had hands that were like butter. I mean, he would always catch it. Trade me for EDP. Okay, all right. I'm not even going to respond to that one. And that's what we don't have, because whenever a play breaks down, whenever there was a pass rush or a guy that was in his face, whenever shit was happening, Tony Romo could know where Jason Witten was at all times. And we did not have that guy. You know, Blake Jarwin in flashes, Golf Swam in flashes and things like that. But we don't have that consistency. And maybe if Jason Witten had stayed around for one more year, who knows what we might have done. I mean, Jason Witten was not going to, get 20, 30-yard pass completions, but Jason Witten was always going to get those 8 or 9, those drive, continuing type of catches. And that's what we need more than anything else on that offense. I think the offensive line will be okay. I think Zeke Elliott will be okay. And maybe if they use Rod Smith a little bit more, we'd be okay with having a spell. But you got to get a good tight end. And if you watch New England yesterday, I can't believe I'm seeing New England in the Super Bowl again. The first Super Bowl I went to was 2003, and it was New England. And it seems like every other year it's freaking New England, and I hate New England. I'm tired of New England. But you look at what Gronk does for that offense. Gronk is their leading receiver. Wait, whoa, ow. Axis Fox. Whoa, dude, hold it. Mark, who would you want as head coach? Chris Richard, Jeff Fisher, or Mike McCarthy? Is this really a question? Is this a quick, is this a trick question here? Jeff Fisher, hell, I will give Jason Garrett a 10-year contract before I would pick Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher was fortunate enough to have Aaron McNair, and that was the only reason why they got to that Super Bowl. Jeff Fisher was not, he was below mediocre. Jeff Fisher lived on reputation. How he got the deal with the Rams, I just don't know, because what he did, no. Mike McCarthy, you had Aaron Rodgers. You had Aaron frickin' Rodgers. You actually had a great defense. You only got one Super Bowl out of that? I'll take a young coach like Chris Richard, energetic, who basically gets the players ready to run through a brick wall for him. That energy, that passion, that drive, that's a guy who knows when to put a foot in a guy's ass and knows when to hug him. Chris Richard, without a doubt. And I'm hoping that the Cowboys recognize that too. And like I was saying earlier, they've put into it motion that you're the next man up. And if this team fails, you will be the guy. Jeff Fisher ruined several quarterbacks. You're right about that. And Elway ruined Paxton Lynch. Well, you know what? I got to tell you, when you look at Scott Linehan, he ruined a few offenses and quarterbacks as well. I mean, think about the players that he actually coached. I mean, he had Randy Moss. He had the greatest show on turf. He had Megatron, and yet it didn't do anything. Andrew or Joseph Torres, shout out. Thank you. I appreciate. Thanks very much. Jared Cook, I would not mind. Edwin, what's up? Well, Edwin, here's the thing. I'm telling you what they're doing is they're setting this up to be the Jason Garrett swan song. That they're going to surround him with all guys on the offensive side of the ball that he believes are the guys. And he's going to sink or swim, and if he fails with the team that's out there on the field, then it'll be bye-bye. And I think Chris Richard gets moved in. Well, okay, forever DC, there's going to be some games that you just don't win. The other guys get paid too. But on a whole, before this offense started picking it up, let's make no mistake, we wouldn't have been in the playoffs had it not been for the defense and the way it stepped up. And there's going to be games where you just get your ass whooped. It's just a fact of football. So on the totality of the season, where we finished up, the way we were able to put that defense together, the way we were able to take those parts, because honestly, I want you to think back. Think back 1 year ago right now, as we were going into the offseason, especially if you listen to the talking heads out there. Actually, let me change up cameras here. Let me get intimate over here with you guys. Think about going into last season, because I was like, we got to get Earl Thomas. We got Jeff Heath. You know Jeff Heath failed geometry, right? Because he couldn't get those angles. Yes, Jeff Heath would get a few interceptions here and there and save the day from time to time, but on totality, for every interception, you looked at about, 10 bad angles. He's going to be a starting safety? And then you looked at Xavier Woods. Yeah, Xavier lays the wood and everything else, but that guy's got no experience. And then you thought about, now we're taking Byron Jones, who looks like a bust from being a safety, and we're going to convert him back to a cornerback? Really? That guy's going to get burnt like toast. And then you had, can't think of his name now. Great rookie year, terrible last year, completely regressed. So you looked at that defensive backfield and you said, damn, we need to sign some free agents. We need an Earl Thomas to get, because believe me, I was on the fence to say we got to have Earl Thomas. And then you looked at Sean Lee, who when he plays is incredible, but Sean Lee missed a lot of time. You looked at Jalen Smith on one leg. You looked at that defense and said, oh, crap. Did you honestly think they were going to be a top 10 scoring defense? Did you honestly think that? Did you think that defensive backfield was going to be able to stop anybody, much less a team like New Orleans? So to take that, being here only 1 year, to take guys like Antoine Woods. Antoine Woods started out, fourth on the depth chart? Became a beast during the season. To have taken a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence and continued his career. To have taken these guys to the level that they did. That didn't happen by accident. And this wasn't expected. So, as I look at that defense, you got to say that turned that team around. And sure, yes, the Rams got us. But guess what? They're going to the Super Bowl. They got New Orleans. I'll take that over what we had before. So that's where I say, yeah, that guy, Jamie, I can't see how you think that he's a bum. But if you believe that's your opinion. My opinion is different, and that's okay that you got a difference of opinion than I do. But I just look at it completely different. I think he was the difference maker. I think Rod Marnelli being able to focus in on the defensive line and make those guys as good as they were. Because You look at teams that have gone out and spent a boatload of money for talent. There's no boatload of money there. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence is going to get paid. But you look at those guys on that defensive line, you don't have studs that are there. But what you got out of them was because Rod Martinelli can actually just create diamonds out of a pile of crap. I'm sorry, guys. Cowboys, I didn't mean to call you guys a pile of crap, but you understand what I'm saying. Anthony Brown, thank you. Anthony Brown. And Anthony Brown, he took him, so Anthony Brown had some key plays during the season. So you look at what he did with guys that were nobodies. Did you think Byron Jones was going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL this year? Did you really? So we'll have to wait and see on that one. They overachieved for the talent that they had. I'll say that much. Now, we only have a couple minutes left in here. I got to go off for a second on the officiating. You know, if my team gets beat because another team is better than them, I'm okay with that. You know, you can't always win games. But when teams are losing games that they have no business losing, it's ridiculous. And I'm sorry, that whole thing for New Orleans, I didn't really have a dog in the fight, although I would have liked to have seen Demario Davis in the Super Bowl. But to lose a game where you're down there in the red zone and you literally get robbed. They beat the crap out of that wide receiver. There's no way in the world that was not pass interference. For two officials to be right there and missing it, I'm sorry. Are you that? I'd rather you say we cheated. We did that intentionally because we have an agenda than say that we are that incompetent that we did not see that. We as Cowboy fans have been robbed too many times because of officiating. You look at the Redskin game, and I'm sorry, that whole punt snap, come on. Did they call it against anybody else? Too many men in the huddle? Seriously? The guy didn't even go in the huddle. They've only called it twice ever against the Dallas Cowboys. You look at teams that plays the Dallas Cowboys, they're the least penalized team. The other teams are the least penalized when they play against the Dallas Cowboys. And it makes you wonder, is this actually getting more like WWE, where it's getting fixed? Because I looked at that Tom Brady. Oh, let me see if I got it. Let me see if I have this clip. Because this thing was so egregious that this was just the fact that they called this. Sorry, wasn't ready for this one. The fact that they called this. Let's take a look at this. They called that unnecessary roughness. Look at this. This guy's, this much of his forearm is on Tom Brady's. Look at that. Let's look at that one more time. And look at this. Gave him 15 yards on that. It was an incomplete pass. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot I moved the camera. But look, one more time. Yeah, Poll. They gave him 15 yards for that. They called that unnecessary roughness. They called that unnecessary roughness in the fourth quarter of the game, giving them a first down, keeping the drive to go ahead and take the lead. Or excuse me, to take the lead going down there. And this is the same league that has called one time a running back lowering the head on Zeke Elliott. Unnecessary roughness on Zeke Elliott for lowering his head. So you start looking at this and you see New Orleans get robbed on what should have been a pass interference call, giving them a first down and can run out the clock and kick a field goal. Instead, They kick a field goal. No, great officiator. Don't give me that crap. I understand, but there were two officials that were. You're telling me, listen. You're telling me that you call that that unnecessary roughness? Look at this. Look at his body right here. If you could blow him over. He didn't. Let's watch this one more time. Wait a minute, hold it. Let's watch this one more time. Look at this. You see the hand? His forearm is on his shoulder pad. Come on, man. We've seen Dak Prescott get face masked going down where they're tackling him and stuff, pulling his head around sideways and his helmet half off. He gets up off the ground, the helmet's halfway off his head, and they don't call it. What they did to Cam Newton after the Super Bowl, where Denver lit the dude up every single they were just pounding him. And you're saying that right there was past? Come on. Unnecessary roughness? Come on, man. Sorry, guys, if I got too loud there. I saw that in real time, and I was like, how did they miss that? And I was sitting over here with a 32-inch TV about 20 feet away over there. I saw that from here. And that's where you start saying there have been so many games this year that have been determined by the officiating that has just been atrocious. And when you have a game, when you're talking about going to the Super Bowl, and you have blatant mistakes that everybody in the stadium and everybody at home sees is wrong, and you know a team's season goes down the toilet because it's just not right. And I don't care if it's my team or somebody else's. Oh, Edelman's punt return, that's another one. I'm telling you, this is where you start looking at this and saying, wait a minute. Is it rigged? It makes you kind of wonder. It makes you kind of wonder sometimes because I see, and maybe it's because Jerry Jones went after Roger Goodell, basically wanted to oust him, that the Cowboys get no breaks. But I see so many times that players of ours that are being held and they're not getting called. We get literally games in a row where we can't get a holding call. But yet you look around at some of the calls that are on us, you're like, are you sure that's holding? And that's a travesty. But guys, listen. It sucks that we got New England and the Rams in the Super Bowl. I know it does. I know we're down in the dumps because we got Kellen Moore, who is now possibly going to be our offensive coordinator. And we have no idea if that's going to work or not. But here's the thing for me. The team won in spite of having Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett. Not because of them, in spite of them. This team, instead of falling apart and pointing fingers like the Eagles are right now. Does anybody else? I'm going to go in overtime here. That's my other bright spot of the day. Hearing that Carson Wentz is dividing the locker room. That Carson Wentz is a diva with his clique of players. And there's a lot of players in there who aren't behind him. So you have the Nick Foles camp who's about to be sent off. And then you've got the Carson Wentz. And you know what's going to happen with Eagle fans? The minute that Carson Wentz stumbles, it's going to be, we should have never gotten rid of Nick Foles. And that, my friends, is the difference of what this team is. Dak Prescott stunk, along with the rest of the offense to begin the season. But this team, starting out 3-5, never, ever cratered. They stayed together, they worked hard, and they played for each other. It wasn't just about getting paid, because all of them were getting paid. But to me, this was like a family. And I believe that this offseason, that these guys got a little taste of success, and that they're going to be hungry for even more. They're going to the offseason, for the most part, pretty healthy. And I believe you're going to see them working out a lot on their own, trying to get better with their craft. I know Kellen Moore may not be very experienced and things like that. He may be not the guy. I don't know. But I still believe in these players because even with as bad as this offense was, even as bad as they started, they finished strong. So you've got to believe in those guys. So, guys, I got to get out of here early in the morning. Got to pick Frankie up so we can get the rest of that carpet done and everything else. So we're going to go ahead and go. I'm thinking about seeing if I can get a stand. I've got to drive basically from DC to Atlanta. Let me know if you guys would like me to actually have a camera streaming the whole drive down there or not. It's basically going to be watching the road, Interstate 95 to 85 till we get all the way to Atlanta. I know our team's not in the Super Bowl, but I'm going to be bringing you guys some of the sights and sounds of Super Bowl City and the stuff in there. It's actually pretty cool, and maybe sometime soon I'll be able to cover one with the Dallas Cowboys. Good night, everybody. Oh, wrong controller. I got so much stuff over here now, I'm not sure.